Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Valerie Laspardi and I am excited to talk to you today about posing tips. Before we get into some posing tips, I wanted to just give you a little update on what I'm doing. So I just found out I'm going to be competing in the September 13th Janet Leug's Battle of the Bodies show, and it's in Fort Lauderdale. I am super excited. It's at the convention center, and I've competed at that convention center 2 times before when I've done the Atlantic Coast Pro. And so, very familiar with that part of Fort Lauderdale and looking forward to staying at the Marriott. I am a Marriott girl. I like my benefits. I like my late checkouts. I like my upgrades. So whenever I can stay at a Marriott, I always take advantage. And then the convention center is just across the street. So it's just a nice, easy walk. As long as it's not raining, we'll be good to go. So looking forward to that. Really excited. Tyler Mannion's going to be the judge at that show. And I have not been in front of Tyler since 2022. Prior to that, the first time I had ever been judged by Tyler was in July of 2018 at the pro qualifying show Universe that's out in Teaneck, New Jersey. So that was the first time, which was great. And I didn't earn my pro card at that show. I earned it a couple weeks later at the Teen Collegiate Masters Nationals in Pittsburgh. So, and that was judged by Sandy Williamson. So I'm excited to be back in front of Tyler after a few years and see, get his feedback. But even more so, I'm excited to bring an improved package from a couple weeks ago. I'm working on bringing in more conditioning. So we'll see what that looks like for me and how that displays on the stage. I love my black suit. I have a black velvet suit. I've worn it only one time last year in December, and I did not have it at my show a couple weeks ago. So I was getting my suit bottoms fixed, and there was a mess up with the shipping and stuff, and so I didn't get them in time. Ended up wearing a blue suit, and it's just one of those things. Like, there's nothing wrong with the blue suit. I love my blue suit, but I was looking forward to the black suit. And here's the thing, black people love it or hate it. And most people, I feel like from talking to a lot of people and judges, most judges don't like the black. They want jewel tones up there. But man, I love my black suit. And I've heard people say that the black makes you look like you blend in, but I've got to disagree with that. The black does not make you blend in. In fact, you pop. Like, think of when we were kids and we were drawing and making outlines. We were like outlining with black. Like, the black makes things pop. And so even at this show that I wore a black suit at, it was the backdrop was black, but I totally stood out. It was this nice outline of my glutes in my back pose. Anyway, I loved it. And it was black velvet. There's a little bit of some like chrome silvery looking stones in there, a little bit of red, and then mostly black. So looking forward to the black, and then straight hair. Have my hair straight, little bit of volume. It's like all these little things, it's kind of we're showcasing our physique, but there is a beauty pageant element to a certain extent as well. So this gets us into posing tips. So the first posing tip is something you probably don't really think about a lot, and it's your hair. So there's nothing wrong with having short hair. There's nothing wrong with having curly hair. It doesn't matter what your hair is like. It used to be that people wanted to have the long, really thick, flowy hair, but it's been in the last couple years with like Jen Dory winning Miss Bikini Olympia a couple years ago. Her curls have brought back other competitors to wearing the curls. There's like Jordan, just she competes with her curls. There's others. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's beautiful. So it's bringing your authentic self to the stage. That's ultimately what you want to do. And for me, I like my hair straight, and I like my long hair. I don't have any plans of cutting it anytime soon, but if you do have long hair, here's a couple tips for you. You don't want your hair to be waterfalling in your back pose all the way down on your glutes, covering your glutes. Yes, it's beautiful to have long hair like that, but this is a physique competition. And so you want to make sure that your hair falls a couple inches above your glutes in your back pose so that when you are hitting your back pose, the judges can see your physique. The glutes are a major part of your back pose, whether you are in bikini or in fit model. You've got to hit that back pose. They want to see what your physique looks like. So hair above your glutes in your back pose. And the next thing about the hair is it's nice to have a bit of a taper so you can see your waist. You don't just want a big block of hair coming straight down. You want to see this nice hourglass shape from the rear delts to the waist to the glutes. And so a little bit of a taper on the sides. And I actually went and got my hair cut yesterday to do that because it had kind of grown out more blocky over the last like 6-7 months. So I just went to my hairstylist. Shout out to Valerie Hartley. She owns Salon Lydia. Highly recommend her if anybody's looking for a good hairstylist. She's really great with extensions and color, and she's the salon owner too. So I have been going to Valerie. Side note, I've been going to Valerie since I was 17 years old. And so I'm 43 now. So I've been going to her for a very long time, and she is phenomenal. So shout out to Valerie. But I went yesterday to her and she trimmed up my hair on the side. So got a little bit of some layering, some tapering. So it highlights not only my back and my waist, but also I can see my rear delts. So you want to be able to see this nice shape in your back pose. So looking at your hair, make sure that your hair gives you, it like helps accentuate your physique and doesn't take over the physique. So that's posing tip number 1. All right, now let's talk about posing tip number 2, the heels. When you are posing, you've got heels. There are lots of options when it comes to posing heels. You can buy heels from Amazon. There's like the Fabulicious brand. There's some, I can't think of those brands, but you can buy posing heels on Amazon. And I did that for a couple years. And they're typically 5-inch heels. They're platform heels. But then there was this brand over the last few years, the Shoe Fairy. The Shoe Fairy, if you can see that. They started making heels because it was a woman who competed and wanted more comfortable heels, which seriously, these are way more comfortable than the brands they are cheaper on Amazon. These are not cheap. These ones are $95. And I think she said due to the tariffs that the price is going to be going up a little bit more. So, but yeah, as of today, I believe that I paid $95 for these a few months ago. So when it comes to the heels, you want to have some heels that are comfortable, and that you can walk well in on the stage. So Shoe Fairy is nice because they do give you 2 options. They have the regular 5-inch heels, and then they have the 2.0, which is a 4.5-inch heel. And so that is what I have here. So you still have the platform, but it's a 1/2 inch less, and it makes it so much easier for me to walk. Now, this particular shoe has the double band, so you can slide your foot right in, but they also have, and this is still the 2.0 version, so a 4.5-inch, they have the strappy one. They also have a no strappy one. And then there's even like blinged out. So you can get jewels, you can get it completely stoned, and that costs more money. It's like $150. It's probably going up in price due to the tariffs as well. But I just get the basic because for me, I don't want to spend money on that. And I also don't want the judges like shine from the heels, distracting from what's going on up top. Cool. Like I like glitter and bling as much as the next girl. Trust me, I really do. But not with my heels. And so I'd rather not see. I mean, I even have like cat eye sparkle on my fingernails right now. So getting good heels and practicing in your heels. Now, when you are practicing in your heels, something I see all the time is girls practicing in their heels with their socks on. What? What are you guys doing? You're not going to be up on the stage in your socks and heels. And the thing with wearing socks with your heels is you're going to stretch the plastic out. So I highly recommend don't wear the socks, okay? Don't wear the socks. And that's going to really help you just to recreate in the best way possible what the stage feel is going to feel like. And that's the whole idea with posing practice, is to do your best to create that experience of being on the stage, because you do all this preparation. You are in the gym. You are tracking your macros. You are doing your cardio. You are going to sleep. You are meal prepping. You are doing all these things, checking in with your coach, taking pictures. But if you neglect your posing, it makes it like all you have is like what, maybe 30 seconds on stage, you know, by the time you walk on, you do your routine and walk off. And then you spend maybe 5 minutes or so doing comparisons. If you're at a pro qualifier, it could be longer. You could be on the stage for 10 minutes or so. But you do all this work for just being on the stage for a tiny amount of time. So do everything in your power when you are posing to visualize the stage experience. Which leads me to tip number 3, visualization. I think that visualization is huge when you are posing. So not only are you actually posing, walking through your routine, practicing, working with your coach, doing all those things, hitting your poses, but take the time to close your eyes and visualize. What is the stage experience is going to feel like? You know, walking onto the stage, visualizing the judges in front of you, the lights coming down on you, even the nervousness that you might be feeling. And nerves are good, by the way. It's what I tell my clients all the time. It's okay to be nervous. That means you care. You've been working really hard. This is a very challenging thing. Think of how many people have started preps and haven't got to the stage, right? So yes, it's okay to be nervous. Like, ride that wave, take those nerves and harness them into a positive thing, right? So visualize all of that. And I got to tell you a story about visualization for me. I first learned about doing visualization from my very first coach back in 2016. He literally had us and the rest of the team that was competing at the show. We all met together at his gym, and we were laying there in like a studio, in like a classroom area. And he turned off the lights and he had us like walk through our routine in our mind. And he even, during our peak week, there was one day where he said, I do not want you to put your heels on or practice your posing all day today. All I want you to do is run through it in your head, like over and over and over, because your brain doesn't know reality from like perception, right? And so if you do it perfectly in your head 100 times, that's the same, essentially the same as doing it in real life. Like, it just becomes that muscle memory. So that was like, I thought that was really fun. Maybe you guys think it's hokey, but I think there's so much to be said about visualizing. So that is my tip number 3, visualize. Now, tip number 4, talking about a posing coach. A lot of people will practice. They see stuff online. Social media is huge. There's YouTube videos out there, stuff like that, giving posing tips. And you can get posing tips from a bazillion different sources, which can lead to analysis by paralysis big time. Big time, big time. I mean, just with like coaching and stuff too. Like, once you find a coach, put those blinders on, listen to what your coach says, ask and make sure that you've got good communication with your coach to talk with them and everything. It's the same thing with your posing. Find a posing coach that resonates with you and stick to it. Follow through, listen to them, stay on top of your practicing, get their feedback of things. If there's something that doesn't feel comfortable, let them know so that you can work through the routine to make sure that you can hit poses that you feel look good and that your posing coach knows looks good for you as well. So that's something that I work with on my for my clients as well. Because yes, with Fit Model and with Bikini, there are your mandatory poses, your front pose and your back pose. And everything that happens in between those transitions, it's not super important, right? And especially as an NPC athlete, you don't have a lot of time, so there's not any reason to add more than you need to. Also, from a judging perspective, and I used to be an NPC judge for a few years, when the judges are looking for reasons to take points away from you, everybody starts with a clean slate. And then if you do something that's like, that kind of could bring you down. So if you do something where your glutes drop, or your tummy sticks out in some transition that's a little bit different than maybe just keeping it very basic, then that could dock you some points, right? So keep it simple. That's my, like, when it comes to your posing, keep it simple. And as you like go through your experience with competing and you get more into it, then you can add more stuff. Even as a IFBB pro, still need to watch for that. You will see some athletes who will add a little bit more fluff. Like I like to do the hair flip. I've done that a few times in my routine. Obviously, I'm not doing that in comparisons, but there's a lot of bikini pros and even Olympians. They don't do a walk to the back. They don't do any hair flips, but their presence and their physique is just like you're speechless. I'm speechless, right? Like their presence when they're on the stage, you just are captivated by their confidence, by their showmanship, by their physique, by their look, all of it. And so find that posing coach that aligns with you, that feels good for you, and then take that routine and add those little things that are slight, that just give you your own personal touch without being too extreme. And there's just like little things that can be done. It could be a smile, it could be a certain look, it could be a hand position. And even in your mandatory pose, there's little things that you want to do to make sure it accentuates your physique. And I've seen that over and over again with my clients, and then just other people that have hired me to work with them and improve their posing routines. Some people, they need to turn more to the side in their front bikini pose. Other people, they need to be opened a little bit more. Some people, it's nice for their hand to be up by their belly button, some down by their hip. There's all these little tweaks that you make in order to get the best look, because that posing, it's about illusions, trying to create these shapes. And it's really fun, but it's also super challenging. And so the more you practice, the more you get the motor patterns down of your posing, the more effortless it will look. But I tell you what, guys, it's still not easy. And I want to tell you a story. So last year I was competing at Battle of the Bay. It's one of Ted and Sandy Williamson's shows, and they have it in the Sacramento area. No, it wasn't Sacramento, like San Francisco area. And it's in December. So, like, one of the very last shows of the year. It's a pro show, bikini pro show, and a masters bikini pro show. And I'm curious, like, next year there'll probably be fit model pro shows at that as well. So it'll be fun to see what happens with the fit model. So it was a huge show. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Huge. All the athletes came out. They'd love to get in front of Sandy. I think there were 12 Masters Olympian bikini pros that were at that show. There was it was stacked. It was so many people. And so the open class, I wish I could remember off the top of my head. You could go to NPC News Online and see how many people there were, but they were on the stage for comparisons forever. It was so long, and the girls were coming off just because they were having to stand there for so long while Sandy was, walking the girls around back, having them walk to the back, walk back to the front, walk back to the line, switching places. They were up there for so long. Those lights from the stage were so hot that girls were coming off the stage and getting toweled off because they just had sweat dripping down their tummies and down their backs. And I'm talking Masters Olympians. These women, they are skilled. But sometimes if you're up there for a long time and it's hot with the blaring lights, your back's going to get sore, you're going to get sweaty. You just have to deal with it. So the more that you practice, the better posing endurance you're going to have for the stage as well. I guess that would be tip number 5. So let's do tip number 5, posing endurance. So this is something where how long can you hold your back pose before you start to shake? Or how long can you hold your front pose before your stomach plops out, right? And I don't ever that was extreme. Nobody's stomach plops out. But when you're on the stage, you're trying to keep your stomach really tight, right? And so your breathing is more shallow. And you don't want to be taking these deep belly breaths when you're holding your front pose. Now, you can take those deep belly breaths when you're turned to the back, right? Because the judges are looking at your back pose, so you can take some bigger breaths. But when you're sitting there in that front pose and 45 seconds goes by, are you doing okay? Or have you been holding your breath the whole time? So that's what I call posing endurance, is practicing that. Because a lot of people will run through their routine over and over and over again, but they don't practice holding their pose. They don't practice that comparison part of the show day, which is a huge part. That's where you're really getting judged. The routines, the judges aren't they're looking at you, but they really are looking at you compared to everybody else because they want to figure out who's the best of the group. So your ability to be able to hold your poses and keep your core tight and your glutes high the whole time the judges are comparing you, switching you around, having you walk to the back to the line, all those things, it could again be one of those things that makes or breaks your placing. So practice that posing endurance. Tip number 6, you guys, tip number 6, this goes along with the posing endurance, and that is the core control that I was talking about. When you're if your stomach's plops out, or if you have a hard time holding your core tight in your transitions, this is something that seems to be more prevalent for older athlete, master athletes, which it's so funny that in the NPC and the IFBB, they consider masters of over 35, but that's fine. We're okay with that. But so it's if you've had a baby, if you're just older, our pelvic floor muscles get a little bit softer. They're not as strong. Our core just isn't as tight. Our transverse abdominis, those our body's natural corset, those muscles that run horizontally. And so this is something that can be improved. And this is where I'm going to shout out my girl, Hannah from A Waist in Time. So her Instagram is A Waist in Time. And she is a vacuum specialist. She's gone through these, I think she said she's level 3 certified or something like that. You could go to her Instagram page. You can go to her website to learn more about her. But I have been working personally with Hannah since November of last year. And I learned about her from one of my fellow competitor friends who's an IFBB wellness pro up in Canada, Whitney. Shout out to Whitney. And so I started working with Hannah because I was anything that I can do, I want to be able to control all the things I can control, because I can control everything about me, but I can't control who else shows up, right? So I just want to know that I'm doing everything in my power to bring my best physique to the stage. And after my 3rd child, I had pretty bad diastasis recti, and I went to a doctor to find out if I could get that surgically repaired with insurance, and the doctor said no, because I don't have a hernia. I was like, do you think I might have a hernia? Can you check again? And he was like, You don't. It's just the diastasis recti. You would have to do a cosmetic surgery. And so, that was like out the window for me. That's just not something that I want to spend my money on cosmetically. I'd rather do something else. And I did. A couple of years later, I got a nose job. But I also had deviated septum, so I got a septorhinoplasty. Anyway, I digress. But so Hannah, these exercises that she has you do, they're best done first thing in the morning on a fasted tummy so that you can really do those vacuums, get your core nice and tight. And even there's pelvic floor work that can be done too. So what you do initially is you schedule an assessment with Hannah, and it lasts 45 minutes to an hour. She talks about like the best protocol for you, looks at what's going on, tells you a little bit about her process and stuff. And then you from there, you go and you can schedule whether you want to meet with her once a month, or maybe you are in contest prep getting close to the show. Maybe you're meeting with her a little bit more frequently, maybe every other week or something like that. Like, you can decide how you want to do that. There's no like, you have to show up this many times, but it is helpful to be consistent, as with everything, right? So for most of my clients that go to Hannah, most of them are general population that work with her, and they go about once a month. But you may want a little bit more. It just kind of depends what makes sense for you. So anyway, you can schedule these sessions anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, and she walks you through the next group of exercises she wants you to do to help improve your core control. And it's really phenomenal, you guys. It's really cool to see the work that if you put in the work, she tells you what to do, you put in the work, you can get better core control. I'm living proof of that. And so, like, transitions, it was always hard for me to hold. I always felt like I was like trying to suck in. And when you're posing, you don't want to have like, you don't want to be pulling a vacuum in your front pose. It doesn't look good. Judges don't like that. And it just doesn't look good. I remember a couple years ago, um, somebody, I think it was Tyler Mannion, because Tyler will do these reviews of pro shows that he judges. And I think he had said something about Ashley pulling a vacuum. Like, she doesn't need to pull a vacuum. It's too much. And so and that's Ashley K, the best bikini girl in the world. So yeah, you don't want to pull a vacuum. You want to just have your core nice and tight. You want to keep your stomach in. You don't want your tummy to stick out on those transitions, and you can improve those things with the work of Hannah. Now, as a general population client, so maybe you're listening to all this and you have zero interest in ever competing, but you're listening to this because you're doing some steps on your walking pad and you're watching this because it's fun to watch YouTube to pass the time. So if you're a general population person, same thing. By tightening your core, it literally will make your core tighter. Like, your waist will improve and your core will get tighter. Like, I don't know what woman doesn't want that. So if it's something that you've struggled with over the years, this could be very, very awesome for you. So not only is it a posing tip, but it's also a Gen Pop tip as well. So since I've been working with her from November, and here it is August, so however many months that is, my waist has come in a 1/4 inch, that's huge for somebody who's been consistently working on improving my physique for the last almost 10 years and competing. I've done 18 shows so far, which some could argue is a lot. Some could say it's not that much, but that's how many I've done. I have continually made improvements. I haven't, been in any sort of extreme in the last like 3.5 years. So making an improvement of a 1/4 inch in my waist in the last 7 months, whatever this is, I think that's really good. And so I think that other people would see some pretty phenomenal results, and I've seen them firsthand. So some of my clients, so Erin Moore, she just competed. She worked with Hannah for about a year, and her core came in immensely, and she lost 35 pounds on her prep to the stage. That was like, it was phenomenal to see her final product. And another client of mine, Jamie, she's 45 and she's a bikini competitor as well. She's had, I don't know, she has 4 or 5 kids. Her oldest just got married. She's like 22. So Jamie, yeah, Jamie's same thing. Like her core control is insane. And she did a show a few weeks ago. She's planning to do another show in October, and it's just improving. And it's amazing from where she started a few years ago because we've been working together for years. And then another client of mine, Haley, who competed with, I coached her to a show last year in May. We didn't do any of this core work. She's young, never had any kids. I think she's 30. So she's a youngster in my book, and she hasn't had any kids yet, but still just has always had a little bit more of like just the bottom of her core just kind of sticks out a little bit more. And it was one of those things that when I was posing with her and working with her on her posing, trying to figure out how to keep that tight in her transitions, and she did a great job. But now she's just started working with Hannah, and I saw just 3 weeks difference of how much she's been able to take in her TVA and improve that. And I am blown away. And it's only been 3 weeks that she's been with Hannah so far. So that's like a major, like I'm major shouting out Hannah right now, but I can't emphasize her expertise enough. So if this is something that you've struggled with in the past, I like hit her up. A waist in time, like a waist. So AWAISTTIM. Oh, INTIM. A waste in time. Yeah, so that's posing number 6. And then let's talk about posing tip number 7. That is going to be your attitude. So this I'm going to finish it up here. Make sure that you are shining, that you bring an attitude of like, I deserve to be here. You're welcome. I remember hearing that from a couple years ago from Paul. Like when I first started working with Paul, I flew out to Florida and trained and did some posing with him. And that was one of the first things he said is show that confidence from that first step. Not even as when you hit the box to do your routine. First step out from behind the curtain or up onto the stage. Look at them. Show that confidence. Like, okay, here I am. I'm ready. I'm ready for my close up. Just display that confidence, and that will come with practice. That will come with that visualization. That will come with the preparation of having a good posing coach, of all the things that I just hit on. So, yeah, this is fun to talk about. I can't wait to talk about more things in the future. So if you guys are prepping for a show, let me know what show you're doing below. And I also am curious about your heels. Do you guys use the Shoe Fairy? I don't have a Shoe Fairy code, but there's plenty of girls out there that do. That will save you like 10% off of your order if you purchase them, but through the Shoe Fairy. But maybe one day I'll get a code and then I can share it with you. All right, we'll talk to you later.